Okay, hello. I'm making my next video. This one is basically going to be like a how-to or more like a how I did it, and then hopefully, you'll find this information helpful. This is specifically on how I detransitioned, the steps I took, and then basically any advice I have for anyone else who is thinking about detransitioning, is starting the process of detransitioning, or is in the process of detransitioning. You might still find this information helpful. Okay, so I did try to organize this like in steps, but I mean, like really, it could differ. I did like write it out, so I would have, you know, the so I could keep my thoughts in order because I get kind of like my brain can be fuzzy, so this is how I remember things and stuff like that. So okay, so basically the first step, before any of the other steps is coming to the realization that you want to detransition. Um, and I like for me, this came with like a lot of reflecting on the past of when I was first starting to transition, just remembering moments of uncertainty I felt like. For instance, one of the memories I had was like when I first went to Louis Children's Hospital, they had you fill out like this checklist of basically everything you wanted done. They had the surgeries, hormones, legal, social, like all this stuff. And I remember I checked off, testosterone, I wanted facial hair, all that kind of stuff. I checked off the social, the legal, I wanted to be called Damon, I wanted to be called he, him. Um, I even checked off top surgery because obviously, I wanted to have I wanted to have like guys have pecs because they like work out and like, that's what I wanted. But I remember when it came up to like the bottom searching the different stuff like for that, I just remember having this like gut feeling like this ew or I don't know, it was like a cringe feeling like and I did not check that off. And it was just like small little moments like those that kind of like later on I was like, okay, maybe I didn't want this as much as I thought I wanted this, or I didn't really want to be a guy. Because if I had wanted to be like 100% a guy, I would have wanted the thing down there. But I mean, obviously, the surgery is not going to give you that. The surgery is going to give you like a neo penis, or I guess it's a neo vagina for trans women, but a phalloplasty. Or I think that's what it's called. The surgery. And the surgery does not give you the real thing. So, and you can't like hormones also like it's like realization for women. Like that's what it does to you. Um, you might look like a guy, you might pass like a guy, but like, you're not biologically a guy. So yeah, it was just like little moments like that, and just like, and then I also think I don't know, it was just like, I feel like I wanted to be masculine, like I wanted the facial because I saw that was masculine, but I think I was more indifferent towards like having the thing down there, stuff like that. So I don't know, like, and I also like felt really indifferent towards, obviously what women have, I didn't really care that I had that. I cared more about my chest. I don't have like bottom dysphoria as much. I do have like chest dysphoria and stuff like that. Like I still have dysphoria. Okay, like you don't you don't like need to transition if you have dysphoria. To me, now this is my personal opinion. Not I don't want to get hate for this, but to me, dysphoria is basically a mental illness. Like just like it causes distress. What my brain thinks my body should be is not in line with the way my body is. So it's like a mismatch between my brain and my body. It's kind of like body dysmorphia, basically, but about just the sex you are. So that's my reasoning for feeling like it's a mental illness because it causes me distress. It makes me feel like I'm not like a normal woman, like other women, stuff like that. So to me, for me personally, it's a mental illness. That's the way I say it. Someone else might not feel it is, and they have the right to that opinion, but that's just my opinion off of my personal experience. Like obviously I wish I did not have dysphoria. It makes my life difficult. And if I was, like I even wish like I was just like normal like other women and stuff like that. But obviously I'm not. Um anyways. So yeah, basically going back to like comment to the realization that you know that you want to detransition. If you do, I recommend don't detransition unless you feel like you need it or you want to. Don't force yourself to do something because it won't benefit you. You gotta. It's kind of like um uh I don't know if this is gonna be a bad analogy, but like it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like telling someone they should detransition and that they're claiming to be happily trans. Like I'm not gonna share my personal opinions on whether I think anyone is truly trans or something like that. But I'm just saying that like they have to come to that realization themselves. Um, that's like that's just the way it is. Like they, it's basically like same thing with people who are like drug addicts or something like that. You can tell them you need to stop drinking alcohol, you need to stop doing this, but they have to be the one to put in the works themselves. So it's not going to happen, So um, I'm not like saying transition is equivalent to drug addictions. I'm just like making an analogy. They're obviously two different things. I was just trying to come up with similar examples, but they're like not similar at the same time. So hopefully no one took that the wrong way. I think the horse analogy was better. Okay, and then I also found it helpful to like let's see. I also like looked up like detrans woman, although it wasn't like I looked up detrans woman because I didn't know that was a thing. More like just looking up trans regret or like trans man deciding to stop testosterone. Then that eventually led me to finding detrans woman, and then that led me to finding detrans woman on the YouTube. That's I think where I first started. And then I found like the post trans website. Someone mentioned that in one of the comments. I had actually seen that. And then just like various like websites and stuff like that. And then eventually I found the subreddit, which was very helpful. And then eventually that led me to the Discord, which is even better because then it's like you're talking to them real time, except for you're texting. But still pretty good. I mean, it would be really nice if we could meet up in person, but I don't know how many detransitioners there are near me. And I just like I don't know. So it is what it is. Okay, and then I also found it helpful to like journal my thoughts and feelings when I was thinking about detransitioning, and then obviously when I was detransitioning. I feel like that's a really good way to stay in touch with yourself, so that's another thing I recommend doing. Okay, so now for part two is basically the social aspect of detransition, which is where you tell your family and friends. For me, I told my dad first, and then my Oma and sister found out, and then the rest of the family found out because Oma, like someone says something in my family, and then the word gets around to the entire extended family. I mean, it's not a bad thing, and my family personally is really supportive, so I love that. I obviously had built it up to be something like, oh, it's gonna be horrible. They're gonna think I'm a transphobe because I'm detransitioning or something like that. Because some of my family does feel like they're a little on the liberal side. Um, but they took it well. I never like really said I'm. Well, I did tell like dad and my sister and his girlfriend. Like I did tell them like I'm detransitioning. I was like very clear, but like with my extended family, it was more like, oh, I just want to go by Tanya now, and I'm identifying as a woman again. I never said the words I'm detransitioning. I regret transition, because I was like afraid that they would like think that I was against transition or something like that. So I did feel like I had to like almost like censor what I would say because I was just I because I had seen like a lot of stuff on the internet of the transitioners getting hate and stuff, and I didn't want that to happen to me. So I was always careful. And same with like when talking to my doctors, I was always careful with how I was saying things, because I didn't want them to think I was like a bad person or something like that. Because I mean I don't think I am, but that doesn't stop them from thinking I am if they think something I'm saying is transphobic or something like that. Um, so my advice with that is basically don't put off telling your family and friends. I mean, if you need time to like think of like more of okay, do I actually want to transition and stuff like that, and you want to come up to the decision whether you will, then it's okay to wait to tell people because I can understand, like, like if you're deciding, okay, well, do I want to detransition, and then you tell everyone, and then you're like, okay, I'm not sure I want to do it right now, or maybe I don't want to do it, and then but you've already told everyone. Like, I can understand if you want to wait and feel like you've really like made up your mind with what you want to do, or you want to start detransitioning before you tell people. Like, I can understand that, but just like, I guess, like, for me personally, I found it helpful to get the support from like my dad, and stuff like that. So maybe that'll be helpful. Obviously, I don't know you guys' situations with your families. I know some families have a tough relationship with each other, so it's gonna really differ for everyone. So, but obviously, friends too, if you have friends, you can, hopefully get some support from them and stuff like that. Even if they don't like fully understand the transition, they can still support you. They don't have to like be in the know and stuff like that. They can just be your friend. Like, you guys don't even have to talk about the transition, just hanging out together. Like, I mean, at least that's what the way I think it is. Like, when I told one of my friends, it was just more like, oh, I'm going by Tanya now, and she and her, and then that was it. And we were just doing whatever we like to do, playing Fortnite together. Like, that was it. Like, we didn't have to have a really big discussion about it. Maybe some people do like to have those like really philosophical discussions about that, and you find that helpful, like those really deep um conversations. Like, if you like to do that, that's fine. But me personally, I just wanted to get it over with and then move on. Like, that's kind of the way I am. Okay, so the next one is the legal detransition. This one was the hardest for me personally. So the changing my gender markers was not difficult. We just filled out an application, went to the DMV, boom, it got changed just like that. I didn't even need a doctor's note. But legally changing your name back is a real pain, at least in my state. I'm in Illinois. So I actually went back to the group where I originally got my name um changed the first time around when I changed my name from Tatiana to Damon. The group's called Chicago House, and they have like a legal team of basically people who help people who are going through gender transitions. Like, they basically help them change their name, and they get paralegals, lawyers, stuff like that. I think they do it for free or reduced cost depending on like how much you make and stuff like that. Now, at first, I was very like nervous. I even wanted just to do it on my own, but my dad's like, like, just give it a try. You would to them the first time, just reach out to them again and say you want to change your name back. And I did, and they helped me. I had to pay, but they helped me, and obviously it took several months to get it done, but it got done. And I didn't tell them I was detransitioning. I just, said, I identify as a woman now, and I'm changing my name to Tatiana, and that was it. We filled out the paperwork together. The court date was over a Zoom call because it was the pandemic, so um, yeah, it was easier than I thought it would be, and they didn't question me, which I really appreciated because it was just about the business of getting it done. So my advice is, if you got your like original, like if you changed your name legally during the transition process, and say you used like a group like I did, even if you feel like, okay, well, I can't go back to them because I'm detransitioning, um, give it a try. Like, you don't even have to say I'm detransitioning. You can literally just say I'm changing my name back here. I'm identifying as a woman again. Like, it doesn't have to get like super deep into why you're doing it and stuff like that. Like, they're just a legal service. So like, don't put off like maybe reaching out to get resources if you're not sure if you can. Because for me, like, I just wanted to make sure I got the legal name change done correctly the first time around, that I wouldn't like mess something up and have to do it over again, which would be really expensive. Because it's already expensive doing it just once, and then if you mess up, you have to like fill out more papers, and then to file it, that costs money, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, if there's help, get the help no matter where it comes from. Um, and yeah, that's my like advice for like the legal side of things. I'm not sure if um how easy it is to change your gender markers, especially in like states like Florida, where there's like a lot of pushback against transition because I mean, whether we like it or not, like I had to go through a similar process that I went through when I transitioned. So like they could have seen it as a transition, and with the legal stuff making it hard for people to transition, that could also affect people who want to detransition, go back. Like, I don't know. Like I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. I'm just saying like that might affect it. Like if you've had like your legal stuff changed, and they could put more restrictions on and stuff, and that could make it harder. I don't know. Um, so so just use the resources you can. Okay, so the next thing is basically the medical detransition. So this one I did technically before I even decided I was gonna detransition because as I said in my other videos, I had stopped testosterone cold turkey because my levels came back too high and when I went to Howard Brown, and that scared me, and I felt like they weren't doing their job correctly or something like that because it was like very high. It was like over 2,000 pgml. I think the highest for like transmen they want you like the high end of the range is like 800 to 900. I think. I'm not like I don't have like the levels like the range pulled up right now, so I'm just going off the top of my head. But like obviously it was really high. So I just didn't feel comfortable, and I went in. I stopped seeing how it run. I didn't even tell them like that I was gonna stop testosterone. I just canceled my next appointment with them and just stopped throughout, all the testosterone and like the needles and stuff like that. Cause no wait, I was doing gel. I had done shots, but then I switched over to gel. Um, so I didn't even have needles to throw. I was just gel packets. So okay, so now for my suggestion, don't do what I did. Um, if you're gonna medically detransition, stop HRT. I didn't get any surgeries done, so I can't speak on that. I obviously what all I'll suggest is talk to a doctor about it because you know they still have more training, even if I feel like they don't know anything about trans stuff. I mean, because I'm just frustrated. But yeah, my advice, at least for the HRT side of the HRT, is the hormone replacement therapy that they give trans people. Is to if you're gonna not stop cold turkey like I did, unless of course your doctor says you can, but basically get it medically supervised. Like do like see your doctor and tell them you wanna detransition, or just if you don't want to say detransition, just tell them you want to go off hormones and get their help with that. I think what they would do is like taper you off, like reduce your dosages or something like that. If you don't want to see a trans doctor, you can see an endocrinologist. They're like the hormone experts. So that's my opinion on. I mean, like my advice. And the other thing is, it might be good for the doctors to know that you're stopping HRT, and that like if you decide it's not working for you, because like what I did is like I just stopped seeing them. I didn't tell them I regretted it or stuff like that. So they don't know. So all they know is that it works for everyone. So, if you tell them like you don't have to go into detail, you could just say, hey, this isn't working for me. I feel like it's not helping me. Like at least then they're getting more than one perspective because I'm sure, they're all super affirming, so I think it's good for them to know that hey, it doesn't help everyone because clearly it doesn't. Like there's a whole D-trans subreddit, and I've been talking to other D-trans women on like the Discord and stuff like that, and I've seen it in the news. It's obviously a real thing. I don't know the numbers, but even if it's small, it still happens. So I just think it's good. Every issue has more than one side to it. So to be only affirming on something, I think is ignoring all the other sides. It's like you've got a nail tunnel vision. I think the issue is wider than that. So, so yeah, that's my suggestion. And then also like doctors can help. Like when I came off of testosterone, when my periods came back, they were like super painful. Well, if you see a doctor, they can help with that. Like I think someone commented that it might have been a chopathy, and it probably was. At the time, I didn't know what it was. I just was, freaked out over it because it was very unusual for me, and it was extremely painful. It was like alarming, but it did like go away over time. So it probably was a chopathy, and as my like hormones came back, it improved. But like it's good to see a doctor. Like I think they can give you like topical estrogen that you can apply that can help with like vaginal chopathy, but I don't think they can do anything for like uterus chopathy because I'm pretty sure that's where the pain would come from, the uterus. Okay, so that's basically um the air like all the steps I had for like my process, and yeah, that's basically all like the tips, not tips, just basically advice I have, and basically what my like the general experience of the process I took to detransition, and basically advice I have based off of that. I hope you guys found that helpful. And I just hope if there's someone out there who's feeling a little lost and is thinking about detransitioning, that they like maybe they see this video and then like they have some idea like because when I was detransitioning, I didn't have like a step-by-step guide on how to detransition. Yeah, I found the subreddit and stuff like that, but it was, I don't know, it would have been nice to have like, I feel like a more detailed, like almost like a guide on like what to expect and the steps to take and stuff. Like you get all that for the transition, but then detransition, it's like you're just having to figure it out on your own and stuff like that. I mean, there's more support now, but like back then there wasn't. So okay, well, that's it for the video. If you guys like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. You can turn on the notifications because I do try to get videos out every day, but at the least I'll get them out once a week. But I do try to aim for like basically every day. And then if you have any thoughts or opinions, go ahead and leave a comment. If you have any suggestions for any other videos, anything you want me to talk about, or any questions you have for me based off of my experience as a detransition woman, go ahead and ask them. I'm pretty much an open book. So I'll answer almost anything. Obviously, there's gonna be some restrictions, like no inappropriate questions, but like I'm pretty much an open book. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, bye bye.